Welcome class to Circuit 8 scatter plots. We're still working on that. Now we are on 8.3 independent and dependent variables. Today there's not, it's gonna be like page probably worth of writing. I would write this down because you're gonna have some practice with this, as well as when at the end of this unit we'll have that assessment and you can use your notes on that. Okay, so today we're doing independent and dependent variables. We touched on this actually at the beginning of the year, but we're just coming back to it because it's been a while since we've talked about it. Okay, so that's our name of our name of our lesson. All right, and so first off, we need to know what is a variable. So a variable is something that can have measured changes. So like the temperature, when the temperature changes, we can measure that. Another thing is like weight. If we change we can change the weight of, or something that has measured changes, like the weight of your dog, right? When you get a dog as a puppy, that changes based on when they're an adult dog. Or I don't know. There's a lot of things that can have measured changes. Time. Okay, so that's a variable. So we're talking about different things that can have measured changes. There's two categories of things that change. We have the independent variable, and that's usually represented by X. And that's something that changes based on your choice. So, like if we're going to talk about age and how many wrinkles you have, we would choose to look at people in different ages. That would be our choice. We can't choose to say like, oh, you have 6 wrinkles. People have wrinkles on their face. We don't get to choose that. Okay? And then the last vocabulary here is the dependent variable. And the dependent variable is usually represented by Y, and it's something that changes because of the independent variable. So when we're using like the age and number of wrinkles on your face, so like I'm 30 and there's like 3 wrinkles on my face. Okay, Mr. Tyson is like 62 and he has 17 wrinkles. Just kidding, he's not 62. That was a joke. Okay, but the independent variable would be age, because the older you get, usually the more wrinkles you have. So your wrinkles are changing because you're getting older. Okay, so let's do a few examples. We have 3 examples today. Okay, I don't want to write with red. Red is boring. Let's do green. Okay, so examples. Okay, so for our first example, we're going to do the time spent studying. And your test grade. Okay, so we need to decide what the independent and the dependent variables are. What we need to remember is that the independent variable changes the dependent variable. So when we think about this, if I think about the time spent studying and my test grade, I kind of want to think of what's going to happen first that's going to cause something else to change. So kind of like before, after, cause, effect, okay? So the before part, or what would happen first? Would I first study and that would change my test grade? Or would my test grade change the time I studied for the test? Well, can't really go back in time. So normally it would be that the test grade, the time spent studying is going to be our independent, because our independent is going to change our dependent, which is going to be our test grade. So if you study, that's going to change your test grade. So time spent studying is our independent. Okay, so that's independent, and our dependent is going to be our test grade. Okay, one more like that. And then we have one other example that we're going to do a little differently. Okay, number 2 is going to be the number of views on TikTok and the number of followers you have. So these are variables because we can change them. And we can measure that. You count followers, you count how many views you have, it shows up, right? Okay. So we're going to think of that as an independent and dependent. So remember, independent changes are dependent. Independent changes dependent. Okay, and I like to look at 2 keywords here. It helps me just kind of narrow down. So the words we have here is the number of views and the number of followers. So we're looking at views and followers. So would I first get views on my TikTok and then people would follow me? Or would I have more followers and then my views would go up? So unless you're like super TikTok famous, in order to get views on your TikTok, you should first have some followers. So our independent is going to be followers, the number of followers, how many people are following you on TikTok. And because you have people that are following you, you're going to then have more views. Okay? Unless you're Mr. Darrow. Just kidding. If you haven't seen Mr. Darrow's TikTok, go watch it. Super funny. All right, last example. We're going to make a quick scatter plot. So this is example number 3. And our directions here are going to be make a scatter plot. So we're going to just draw a quick scatter plot after we look at our data. So our data is about backpacks at school. Okay, and our 2 things that we have, we're going to have the weight of the backpack, and that's in pounds. And then we are going to have the number of textbooks. And we're just going to keep this a pretty short scatter plot. I'm trying to make a table here. So we're only going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Okay, so the first person we check, their backpack is 19 pounds and they have 2 books. The next person, their backpack is 25 pounds and they have 3 textbooks. 10 pounds and they have 2 textbooks. This person has 8 textbooks, but they have, 8 pounds, but they have 0 textbooks. So they just have a lot of other stuff in their backpack. Then the last one is 30 pounds and they have 4 textbooks. Okay, so when we make the scatter plot, the first thing we need to do is draw our x and our y axis. We're just going to keep it pretty simple today. Nothing too crazy. Okay. And we're going to put the title, so we're going to call it just Backpacks at School. That goes at the top. Backpacks at School. Okay, now we need to decide the x and the y. So remember, x is usually the independent. And then y is the dependent. So which one causes the other to change? Is it the weight of your backpack is going to change how many textbooks you put into your backpack? Or is how many textbooks you put in going to change the weight? And usually it's going to be the number of, not usually, that's how it works. You put textbooks in, your backpack then weighs more. Okay, so this is going to be textbooks down here. And that's on our x-axis. Remember, x goes side to side here. Okay. On our y-axis, because textbooks are now going to change the weight. So weight is the label. And then weight is in pounds. So we're going to make sure we put that LBS. Who already cited pounds should be LBS? I don't know. Okay. If I look at my textbooks, the highest I have to go is 4. So I'm just going to count by ones. So I'm just going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and if I look at my weight, the highest I have to go is 30. So I'm going to count by 5s. If I count by 10s, then I only need 3, but I'm going to do by 5s. I'm going to use that in between, so it's going to be 5. I didn't give myself very much space here. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I think I could have spread that out a little bit better, but that's okay. All right, so 219. Now, when we do this, we want to look at our x first, and we said this is actually this is our x, and this is our y. So we're actually going to be looking at the bottom and then the top. Okay, so 219. So we're going to go over to 2, and then this is 10. 20 is right on this blue line, so I'm going to go just a little bit below it. Okay, so notice there's not actually a 19 over here, but we know that the 19 is actually right below that 20. It goes 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, and again, we're going bottom to top this time, which isn't usually normal. So we're doing 3, 25. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 25. So 5, 10, 15, 20. 25 is right in the middle there. That's where I put it. Okay, then we have 10 pounds for 2 textbooks. So I'm going to go to my textbooks 2, and I'm just going to 10, which is kind of nice and easy because it's just right on that first blue line. And it's exactly 10, so that's okay to have that 10 there. Now we have 0, 8. Notice there's no 8 over here, so we're going to have to, in 0, you have to remember 0 is actually right on that line. So 0, and then 8. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8. So we kind of just have to make our best guess of where that is. Okay, and then we have 4, 30. So we're going over to 4, and we're going to go up to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. All right, and that is it. So now you have a quick check to do today, and then there's going to be an IXL practice on independent and dependent variables tomorrow.